Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. In today's episode, I will be giving you 5 tips on how to love your mother. During this beautiful month of May and Mother's Day, I am hoping that these tips will help you to strengthen your relationship with your mother. Many of us have witnessed our mothers, throughout our lives. We witnessed them suffer. We witnessed them, tread through traumas and great heartache. And some of us have even suffered, at the hands of our mothers who unknowingly, transfer the generational trauma that they themselves, learned, the dysfunction that they themselves lived through. Yet, regardless of what our experiences have been growing up with our mother, God is calling us to steward our relationship with our mother with love, with grace, with mercy, with forgiveness, and with loyalty. God is expecting us to continue to love our mothers, regardless of the status of our relationship. Understanding that love is not contingent on the one that is being loved, but it's determined by the one doing the loving. Love is an action word, and it's used to describe an action, a state, or an occurrence. So it should not just be words. It should be backed up by your behavior. My question to you is, how are you loving your mother? For me, nearly 23 years ago, I was in a very uncomfortable place with my relationship with my mom. I wasn't too happy. I was living under my mother's roof. I was working a full-time job. I had just gone back to school, and I was holding down a serious relationship. I was heavily involved in the church, and I was heavily involved in my family affairs. But regardless, I felt like my mom treated me like an irresponsible child. Oftentimes, she would judge me and criticize me on the things that I could be doing better. And I felt disrespected. And sometimes I got disrespectful, not bragging, but being transparent. And the state of my relationship with my mother was tearing me apart. Like it truly saddened me. And because I was heavily involved in the church, and I was heavily involved with my family, and many of the people that I was in relationship with couldn't relate to what I was experiencing with my mom. If I did or said anything that my mom didn't agree with, my behavior was met with isolation. It was met with silence. It was met with rejection. And I was torn apart. I was seriously praying about my relationship with my mom often. I was trying to read books and find information on how I could break down the walls of defense and offense that I was coming up against. It is an extremely painful situation to have love for your mother and desire that same love from your mother. And for me, I wanted my mom to be happy. I wanted my mom's approval. I wanted my mom to love and appreciate the life that I was working so hard to create. So it was hurtful when I was told how I could do something better, or when and where she didn't agree with what I was doing and what she thought about the decisions that I was making. And one day I was praying and I'm like, God, I can't keep doing this. And I wrote a long letter expressing to my mom how I felt expressing to my mom what I needed from her, that I needed her love, that I needed her support, that I needed her encouragement, and that I needed her to stop shutting me out when I do or say something that she doesn't agree with. And I expressed to her, like, my entire life, all I wanted to do was to make my parents proud. And being a grown woman, doing grown woman things, and still feeling like a child who's being chastised, a child who's being criticized, and a child who's literally being thrown away when her behavior is not pleasing. And my heartfelt letter was met with silence. Like, for months, there was no response to my letter. There was no reconciliation to our relationship. And there was no room for discussion because silence was the solution. And I had enough. And I made the decision, and I told God, I made the first move. And I'm not going to continue to be rejected, and I'm done. So I was okay walking past my mom, desiring to speak to her, desiring to have a conversation with her, desiring to hug her and embrace her. But knowing that she wanted nothing to do with me, I made up in my mind, regardless of how much it hurts, I have to make a stand, because I can't keep putting myself out there trying to fix a relationship that she is not willing to fix. Lo and behold, 2 weeks before Mother's Day. Now, mind you, I was still shopping for my mom for Mother's Day. This didn't make me, hate her. I was so hurt that I just gave up. And I gave in to the environment that was created. But 2 weeks before Mother's Day, 2 weeks before May, the new magazine episode, or I guess for In Touch Ministries, came out. And the month of May, they were focusing on mothers. I don't know if you know, but In Touch Ministry is a Christian lifestyle magazine that Dr. Charles Stanley created. And in our household, my mom got each of us a subscription to the magazine when we became a teenager. So when we got to the age of 13, we all got our own magazine to grow our relationships with God. And when the magazine came, there was an article titled How to Love Your Mother. And it literally talked about, how you should properly love your mother. It was 10 tips on how to properly love your mother. And I was like, oh, yeah, I love my mom. I just knew that once I read this article that, I was doing things the way I was supposed to. But unfortunately, out of the 10, I was only actually doing one of the 10. And it broke my heart. And I just cried when I read the letter. I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was not too sure why I was crying at the time. But looking back now, I believe that I was crying because the Holy Spirit was convicting me, for one. And for two, I was repenting and releasing the pain of that experience. And I was praying and asking God to help me to love my mother. And today I wanted to share with you 5 of the tools or the tips for how to love your mother. The first tip was to love her verbally. It is extremely important that we not only say things, but that we actually exhibit the behavior that supports what we're affirming. So if we say, I love you, I truly believe that the word I, the accountability and responsibility, has been taken out of it. And a lot of people that I come in contact with simply say, love you, not me. I believe that I is a powerful statement, and because God says I am so many times in the Bible, I believe that that has a powerful foundation in your life when you say I and take accountability for it. So I believe that you should love your mother verbally. You should tell her as often as you can that you love her, but not just that you love her. It is your job to tell her why you love her, what it is that you love about her, and what it is that you love that she does. So, for example, if you know that your mom is constantly sacrificing to ensure that you have everything that you need, then you need to tell her, Mom, I love the way you show up for me. Mom, I love the way you care for other people. Mom, I love how selfless you are. Mom, I love how generous you are. We as human beings need that affirmation. We need that, we don't need external validation, but it is good to hear accommodations about yourself. So I would position you to love your mother verbally. Be as specific as possible when you're talking to her, sharing with her why you love her. Don't just say it, but be about it. I love you, Mom, for who you are. I love your creativity. I love your wisdom. Whatever it is that you love about your mother, allow her to hear it. Because as mothers, it is a thankless job. And oftentimes mothers feel underappreciated and overworked. And if you are a mother, I am 100% sure you feel that way. So give to your mother that verbal appreciation and gratitude so that she knows without a shadow of a doubt that she's still needed and that she is loved deeply. The second thing that I want to share is to love her physically. Our mothers have had their hands on us for the majority of our lives. Their love and their energy and their nourishment and nurturing has touched us deeply. And it is important that when we see our mothers, that we physically embrace them. It is something magical about a hug. It is something magical about the exchange of positive energy. When you encounter somebody who you know truly love you, who embrace you and hold you gently and lovingly, it encourages your heart, and it sometimes makes your heart skip a beat. It gives you a joy. It gives you that knowing that I am appreciated, that I am loved, that I am celebrated. So don't be afraid to love your mother physically. Even if it's just gently touching her face, even if it's just kissing her on the cheek, even if it's holding her hands, embrace your mother with a touch. Because sometimes we as moms, we go untouched because we are so stressed out, and oftentimes people don't know how to manage their emotions, and it causes us to push people away. Embrace your mother with a loving and joyous touch. Thirdly, love her patiently. I know oftentimes our moms get on our nerves because they want to tell us what to do. They're still our moms. No matter how old we get, they're still our mothers. So they can't change the mindset and the position that they have us in easily. It takes commitment, intentionality for a mother to love her adult children, because she has to move them from the position of child to the position of adult child. And unfortunately, some mothers don't know how to make that switch. By the grace of God, through all of the heartache and pain, me and my mother were able to get to that point where she respected me as a woman. And she was able to say to me that I am proud of who you are. Don't be afraid to ask your mother for what it is that you need. Be patient with her. Even if you express your needs and desires to your mother and she's struggling to give you what you need, just be patient. take your time, just like she was with you, because remember all of the phases that you went through. You went through the rebellion stage, you went through the disrespectful stage, whatever other stages you went through. Some of us went through the stealing, and some of us went through the, sex, and there are a lot of phases that she patiently loved you through. Give her that same patience. Extend that same patience to your mother. And know that she doesn't have ill will towards you. She's just struggling to make the transition from my child to my adult child. And it's okay if you communicate assertively and respectfully to her when she's not loving you for who you currently are. And fourthly, love her gratefully. Be grateful for all that your mother saw you through. I am 100% sure that your mom has jumped over hurdles to get you to adulthood. I'm pretty sure your mom has sacrificed tremendously to get you through adulthood. And if you have a mother who unfortunately didn't, I'm pretty sure there is a woman in your life who did. Love her. Still respect and love your mother, but that mother figure that you have in your life, be grateful for all that she went through. I know for me, my mom, she made 2 meals because there were some things that I couldn't, tolerate, and she would literally make 2 meals each night. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for it. So I had no problem going out my way. When my mom had a taste for something, I had no problem going out my way to go pick it up and bring it to her. Because I know what my mom went through to get me to adulthood. I know, and I have nothing but gratitude for the sacrifices that my mom made to get me to adulthood. And I'm going to ask you to think about when you went through the phases of 1 minute you like pizza is your favorite food, then spaghetti, then hot dogs and pork and beans. And regardless of what your preference was, I'm pretty sure your mom made the adjustment. So show her the gratitude. Reflect on your life. Find things that you're grateful for. And then express that gratitude to your mother generously. Last but not least, listen to her. I know our moms think they know it all, but you got to understand, they're older, they're wiser, they have more experience, they have more knowledge, and we have to trust them. Trust that they have our best interests at hand. If we are alive today and we were raised by our mother, she did a good job. So trust that she knows the ins and outs about us. She has seen you through trials and tribulations, through heartache, through failures, through leaps, through growth, She has seen you develop over the years. So there are some things that she knows about you that you may have forgotten about yourself. So listen to her, lovingly listen to her, not to react, but to respond. And sometimes not to respond. I'm sorry, that was a misspeak. Do not listen to her to react or respond. Listen to her to understand. Listen with ears of love, understanding that she has your best interests at heart. She wants the best for you. And she may not have all of the answers, but she has wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and experience that you don't. So just have a listening ear when your mom wants to speak, because you never know if you're the only person she can talk to. Because our parents, regardless of how many siblings we have, they share with each of their children according to the relationship they have with each of their children. So just because your mom has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 siblings, don't mean she's having the same conversation with each of you. So when your mom speaks, listen with love and lead with love. I hope that something was said or done that encourages you to take these tools and apply them to your relationship with your mother, to strengthen your relationship with your mother. For me, my mother passed in 2021 due to cancer, and I don't have the opportunity to continue to apply these things, but for 20 something years I had the opportunity to put these things into practice, and I am grateful for how my relationship with my mother transformed and grew and blossomed and bloomed. And I am just so grateful that I had the opportunity to have my mother for as long as I had her, and to be able to carry her legacy and to continue to put these things into practice with the women in my life. I love you guys. Be blessed. Be well. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, share, hit the notification button so that you can be notified when the next video drop. And feel free to start a dialogue in the comments and let me know, how do you measure up? How are you loving your mother? Are you loving her in these 5 ways? Are you loving her verbally, physically, patiently, gratefully? And are you listening to her? Let's talk about it in the comments. Love you guys. See you soon.